Hello, welcome back to ShedNet. We're doing a Ubisoft conference wrap-up today of the E3 that's just happened. This will be brief, so let's get straight into it. They opened... Sorry, there's some idiots off camera. Yeah. We opened with Just Dance 2017. Some nice little routines going on. It's a nice little dance routine.
Oh, great. So another dancing game you can get the full of yourself of on YouTube. Which...
incidentally, is going to be the first non-Nintendo NX game on the NX.
Really?
So yeah, that's a thing, which is going to be released on October 25th on all platforms except the NX, which will obviously release when the NX is out. And then Aisha Tyler came on to host it because she's hosted it like 6 times in a row, I think.
Yeah, well, Aisha Tyler is quite funny if you ever watched her.
Yeah, sure. So she's quite funny. So she made the conference quite enjoyable to watch. Yeah. The first thing they did was Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is a new Tom Clancy game, which is, if you've played a Tom Clancy game, you've played them all, really.
Like, if you're familiar with the Ghost Recon franchise, it's like Ghost. If you're Call of Duty, it's like Ghost. You're an elite team of soldiers who are going to do fantastic missions and stuff.
And
like
this
that.
one's like it's a co-op game, so it's like 4-player co-op, and it's a big open world. It's the biggest open world that Ubisoft has done so far. And the gameplay trailer looked really cool. They sort of went into a compound silently, took down some guards, extracted what they wanted, and then got out on a helicopter.
So it's got like a mixture of like what you see in Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's very Metal Gear Solid, but co-op, which is cool. Which
is good, yeah. Like, it's not online co-op, otherwise you have to depend on someone who probably doesn't speak your own language and will listen to you anyway.
Then the next thing they did was, there was this trailer, and it was like very serious, and it showed sort of like this pandemic that spread across the United States. And you know, when they're sort of announcing a game, they show the game engine, just the logo.
Yeah.
And it was the Division game logo. The Division. Oh, bloody hell. The people off camera put me off, stop! It was the Division game engine logo, and it sort of made everyone think, okay, this is probably the Division DLC, and then it was like, who's going to rise up and take down these bad guys? And there was just Carmen's face in his coon outfit.
I saw that, I was thinking, like, this is Division, isn't it? It has to be, come on.
Yeah, so that was hilarious. A hilarious way to open it.
Yeah.
Basically. And, so then they got Trey Matt out on stage, and they were talking about the game, really funny stuff. And they went straight into the gameplay trailer, which, did you see that?
I did see a bit of it, yes.
So it's a lot of the Fractured Butthole, and it's a superhero-themed sequel to The Stick of Truth, which was great.
Like, if you've played The Stick of Truth, that is like the amazing game.
Yeah, so this is one of my highlights of E3. And they've overhauled combat, so it used to be sort of Final Fantasy combat. Now it's more like Fire Emblem
turn-based combat.
Yeah, it used to be turn-based, just pick a move, do it. But now it's sort of, you can move around a battlefield and use cover to your advantage, and space is a big thing.
So what's the title of this new one?
Fractured Butthole. Fractured Butthole.
Is that the politically correct one?
It's Fractured Butthole. But it's a play on words.
Guaranteed we're going to have the same, like, a Stick of Truth that's going, like, because you live in the EU, you are not subjected to this particular...
Well, they did that in the last one, didn't they?
Yeah.
In Australia and Europe.
It gives you the description of what happens.
Yeah, there was a scene where they were anally probing someone. It's like, in this scene, they anally probe someone, but because of the UK standards, you're not allowed to see this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. It's going to be available on December 6th on Xbox One, PS4 and PC. And also, a really funny thing was that they went into, is like, Cartman was sort of making your character's backstory.
Yeah,
it's just like,
so what's your name? And you type in a name. You select a name, douchebag.
Well, that was the last game, yeah, but this game... The tragic backstory is, one day you heard a noise from your parents' room. Your mother sounded like she needed help, so you went to your parents' room and you saw them having sex. And then Carmen's just like didn't realise that everyone's parents had sex. So it was just funny. It was a hilarious scene.
Typical Carmen there.
And you can also get a free copy of Stick of Truth for current gen consoles, which I don't think is a remaster. I think it's just a port. If you pre-order,
because basically the South Park animation style, not much really can do enhance it visually, is there?
No, well, the thing about South Park is that it's basically one-to-one with what the show is. Yeah. It's exactly the same. So it's not trying to recreate really realistic graphics, but what it does recreate is absolutely perfect to a show. It looks like you're playing an episode of the show. So that's really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. Next, they showed the Division expansion survival DLC, which is sort of like you're scavenging for food and supplies, which is going to give a second wind to the Division, I think, but not much that it's
It just has more realistic tones to basically a post-apocalyptic scenario, which we would expect.
Here at ShedNet, we're not too keen on the Division. We were,
go back in our videos, we played a Division beta and stuff like that now, but like, oh dear, that's massive waste of time.
Not too keen on the Division. That's going to be out next year, I think, maybe
so
before Christmas.
So much for learning from the lessons of Destiny, eh?
Yeah, so the next one, they started showing VR games, which were, the first one they showed was Eagle Flight, which you play as like an eagle, and it's a 4v4 multiplayer game, and you got to try and pick up a ball as an eagle and drop it in your nest, and like you're just zipping in and out of these.
This is sort of like building upon what I would like to call the what's the game called again now? Football cars, Rocket League. I blanked on the word Rocket League. I don't know what you're laughing about. Basically, all these guys do is just put profanities in our faces and stuff like that. It's hard not to look. But anyway, Rocket League. It has that sort of Rocket League vibe where it's like.
I didn't get a Rocket League vibe,
but it's sort of like that sort of thing. Like it's just more a different way of approaching like a soccer sort of base game.
Yeah, it looks really interesting. It looks really, really fun. That's going to be Q4 this year. PSVR. And then next, which obviously David is a massive Star Trek fan.
As you could see, the Long and Prosper and all that.
However, he's not big on VR. Right?
I don't not very sold on
So there's this Star Trek Bridge Crew game that they went into next, which is a VR 4-player co-op game where you're on the bridge of an Enterprise style ship, but it's not the Enterprise, is it?
Yeah.
Give me a second, because I'll let you go off on your tangent. So, and each player's role is as important as the rest. So the captain's not the most important person. Each player has to do their own bit, and it looks really, really fun. And I'm not a Star Trek fan, that's coming from me. So take it away, Dave.
So basically, it just gives because there's quite a few Star Trek games out there. One of the biggest ones is STO, but this one actually gives you the full bridge experience. So you can be like the science officer, the tactical officer, helm, comms, captain, all the important roles on the ships. And we actually demonstrated this by actually bringing some of the actors on from the original TV shows. So we had LeVar Burton, who played Lieutenant Commander Geordi LaForge.
He was fantastic as well, by the way.
He is, and his daughter, Mika Burton, she does for the Achievement Hunter crew now. She's with Rooster Teeth and all that stuff.
Oh, right,
so
okay.
She's a big gamer. They're very big games, and they had a lot of presence in E3 and stuff like that, so they're pretty awesome. So he played Geordi LaForge in TNG, and then you had Jerry Ryan, one of the most beautiful women to play 7 of 9 in Voyager, and we have Carl Urban, who's the new Dr. Bones McCoy in the new J.J. Abrams.
And there was a fourth, but we can't quite place him.
Who was it again?
We can't remember. Can't remember who it was.
I know it was them
but there was
three.
a fourth player, and assumedly from Star Trek.
I assume it's from Star Trek, but because I watched the interview LeVar Burton gave afterwards more than I watched the actual gameplay footage. And he said that he was on the stage with Carl Urban and Jerry Ryan and stuff like that, playing the new game.
Yep.
So it looks pretty damn cool. And I know you're thinking, is this going to sway me to VR? And I think it might, but
it might.
Depends.
Well, with this and the Fallout 4 coming to VR, I'm sure this will definitely affect your opinion.
Because I always thought that VR was a bit of a gimmick. Like it'll just die down like 3D or something like that. But now I can see how it gets things like that. But we'll see. I want to see more of this.
I want to see more of this. So this is going to come out on the PSVR, HTC Vive, and the Oculus Rift this year, Q4. So
good Christmas present there for all
good Christmas present
out there.
Next, they showed off For Honor. They showed off some single player stuff, but before they got into the gameplay, the director of the game came on, and he is the most eccentric game developer I've ever seen. He came on and he made such a big sort of cinematic opening and just sort of set the scene. So and that's one of my highlights of E3 as well. It's just this really cool developer coming on, so passionate about his game and selling it to everyone even before they've seen any footage.
You can tell you want people like that in command of the actual development of the game, because it shows that they're not just taking it for money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Most developers, you could argue, just focus on the bottom line. This one actually cares. And it was really nice to watch him actually, put a lot of song and dance and effort into it.
Plus he's got just an awesome beard, so that helps.
We like beards here on ShedNet.
We love beards on ShedNet. It showed off gameplay of the Viking faction taking on the Samurai faction. So it was the Vikings laying siege to a samurai city, and it showed off sort of your Viking hero just shrugging off these grunts, these little just NPCs, getting rid of those pretty easy, but it looked really fun. And then you sort of come to these sort of big 7-foot tall bosses, and like it showed off the mechanic that they've been showing off since last year, and it looks really cool. Like I'm definitely getting this game. It's such the mechanic has not been seen before in another game.
So it's really exciting. It takes a different approach to a video game. It's very nice.
Yeah. So this game is coming out on Valentine's Day. Actually, this is a good game to get your girlfriend. I'm sure she'd enjoy that.
Or just wink, wink, nudge, nudge to your girlfriend, maybe.
Exactly, perfect Valentine's gift. Next they went into Trials of the Blood Dragon, which is a cross between Trials, the motorbike game.
Yeah, and Blood Dragon from Far Cry 3.
Yeah. So
I've seen
such an odd mashup.
I've watched Achievement Hunter's Let's Watch of that video, and it looks pretty damn cool.
It looks cool.
It's got a nice, so
the art style is all Blood Dragon.
Yeah,
and it's not just motorbikes. You can different vehicles, and you can shoot stuff, and it's
and it's got like a platformer to it as well, because you're two kids of the protagonist of Blood Dragon.
Right. Okay.
And stuff like that, and they're kids, and then one of them's the girl, like the daughter's more stealthy and stuff like that, and I think she does all the platform elements.
Right.
And the lad who's a big motorbike enthusiast, and he goes in loud, brash, guns blazing, that sort of thing. And the main protagonist from that one actually voices the whole game every time you go through a level and stuff like that. And as well, it's quite comedic actually, because he starts off saying, "I'm not the one on the bike. That's my son."
Oh yeah, they're playing on this whole 80s action movie vibe. It paid off really well because the trailer looked really cool and fun.
If it's anything like what Blood Dragon was for Far Cry 3, it'd be a very good expansion to Trials, basically.
And also, they as soon as the gameplay was done, they were like, "Well, this is out now. You can go and buy this now."
That's what you want to see at E3 going. Yeah, well, we have been working on this, and you know what? After this, you can play it now, basically. So
happy with that. Next up was Watch Dogs 2, which they sort of was a bit of speculation pre-E3, because I think there was a little leak. There was leaks.
And there was leaks, but I generally thought after the first Watch Dogs that was it.
Yeah, same. I don't think the first one did well enough to warrant a second, but apparently it did. This one,
it didn't live a lot.
This has drawn me in. Like the stuff they showed looks fantastic.
It looks like they've learned their lessons and gone, all right, we didn't do that, but we didn't. Pitch this very well, and we didn't put it down in application.
Yeah. So like the hacking stuff is a lot more in depth. You can do a lot more stuff. So you can take control of cars electronically and drive them about. You can, if you're walking through a crowd of pedestrians, you can just sort of set off all their phones to create a distraction. You can control drones, RC cars, stuff like that to hack stuff. Also, new city, new protagonist. I can't remember, what's the protagonist called? I can't remember what the protagonist called, but it takes place in San Francisco, which is like the. Where did
the first one take place again?
I don't actually know. It was Chicago. It was Chicago. Yeah.
Chicago.
So like San Francisco makes much more sense because San Francisco is like the technological hub of America. So this makes way more sense.
I thought that would have been Silicon Valley. I'd have thought Nevada.
I don't know. Well, it's debatable, isn't it? There's no specific one, but I'd say San Francisco was definitely up there. So the gameplay demo was cool. And it's about sort of you're a hacker, part of a greater hacker collective trying to take down a corrupt corporation. Sounds good. Sounds good.
So there's all those conspiracy theories. It's the corporates that control everything.
Exactly.
Basically.
So that's coming up PS4, Xbox One, and PC November 15th. So
a lot of November releases.
There is a lot of November releases actually. And then they showed a new IP, which I'm really excited to play when it finally comes out. Well, I say finally, but it's come out in December and they haven't showed it. This is the first anyone's seen it, and it's releasing in a couple of months, which is fantastic. It's called Steep. It takes place in the Alps in Switzerland, and it's basically an extreme winter sports game where you play as a character who can switch between skiing and snowboarding and wingsuiting and parachuting and paragliding. And you can just do all this crazy cool stunts, and there's races, and there's other players rowing about the mountain as well. So you can interact with those and create stunts between yourselves, and you can sort of.
So is this like basically a Tony Hawk style game? Kind of in the Alps.
It's sort of like what they want from it is they want a big community, because there's a huge thing where you can sort of press pause and then rewind your line for a long time, and just sort of edit videos and make videos. So what they want is they want a big community making videos of cool stunts and stuff, and it sounds like it sounds really, really cool. I'm definitely up for this.
So it's more focused on the viral sensations that these videos can
Yeah,
produce.
they're focused on creating a community of creators.
That's not.
It's not bad.
It's not a very easy objective to obtain.
No, but with a game like this, well, I think there'll be a big following. I think they could succeed. So I'm really looking forward to this. Xbox One, PS4, PC, all the stuff you want. All the stuff you want it on.
Yeah.
And then they broke the sort of like I don't think this they finished the conference with Steep, but somewhere during the conference, I can't remember exactly where, they did sort of break the momentum by bringing out the Assassin's Creed movie guy.
Oh yes.
And they interviewed him about the movie, and it's like, wow, this is E3. This is the electronic, like this is for games. Why are you talking about movies? Even like it's just
better
them.
off leaving that for Comic-Con, which is where that would be more widely accepted. Talking about a film and that, or I think in Comic-Con, but
yeah, it's just wasting all of our time, and it's just them because they own it. They're just like, hey, we've got this. Please give us your money at some point when it comes out. Like it's not. It's I guess it's game related. It's Assassin's Creed, but it's a movie.
Yeah, but the problem is basing a film on a game. It's the same as basing a game on a film, and vice versa and stuff like that. Like sometimes, very, very rarely, like it will work. Like this, this Warcraft film.
Yeah, that didn't do well.
No, apparently no. It just shows you, doesn't it? Emphasis my point that games should stick to what they do best, and videos should stick to what they should.
I don't think that's strictly true, but history dictates that video games based on films and films based on video games are not good.
Like one of the worst games ever made was Superman, and I think it was for the
64.
64. One of the worst games. It's up there.
Well, that's
E.T.
not a movie adaptation; that's a comic adaptation, and then there's some good comic adaptation games.
It's a game based on a film which sucked.
Yes.
And Assassin's Creed, it's just open wide. It's too open, I think, to be a film which depends upon a linear story progression.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the movie. I just don't think it has any place in E3. I just didn't like that they did that.
No, they should have left it for another.
So, what do we think about the conference as a whole?
I came in a few bits and pieces. I didn't watch entirely the whole thing. I watched the South Park bit. I've watched the Trials, Blood Dragon stuff, and I've watched Star Trek stuff. But overall, it was good to actually see a strong performance by a publisher and stuff. By a publisher.
I think it was a good conference. Obviously, one of my highlights of E3, South Park. Because
the last game was a barrel of laughs. So
it was fantastic. If it's anything like the last game, fantastic.
It should be just as good, if not better.
So that'll wrap up our review of the Ubisoft conference. Tune in next time. We'll be doing a Sony conference, I believe, is next. So we'll be getting into that, talking about those.
Don't sue us because we have no control when these videos come out or what order they come in.
Yeah. So
and on ending that, we're going to murder our colleagues.
We are. We're going to, as soon as the camera turns off, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to punch everyone in the face twice. So
for good measure.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Stay with ShedNet, people, guys.
ShedNet out.